Welcome to Botches Off-Road. Join us as we talk about everything from gear reviews to trail stories, tent camping to rock landing, and all things to do with the outdoors. Today, we are doing a kind of fun one, off-roading myths and misconceptions. What's actually true? And I'm not going to lie, I totally went on ChatGPT and asked it for the best possible topic for today's episode. So, let this be your AI-generated content for the day. The very first one that... Oh, go ahead, Gavin.
Oh, no, I was just about to ask which one's our first topic, man.
Yeah, so the first thing is, number one, is you need a big lift to go off-road. And
yeah,
this is very much so not
myth
true.
Or fact? Yeah.
So this is the topic.
Myth.
Yeah, it's a myth or misconception. So then So this is a myth according to them. And I agree.
Oh yeah.
Because you can definitely go off-roading in a Honda Civic.
A Miata.
Or a Miata. We've seen lots of cool Miata builds.
What was that 3-wheeled one I sent you recently last couple months? It was a very...
That Reliant Robin.
Yeah. Someone off-road a Reliant Robin.
God, I've seen someone do Gambler, do Moab with a Crown Vic. So.
Hell yeah, dude. I was trying to get my little brother to buy a Crown Vic, and he was telling me, it's two-wheel drive. It won't work in the snow. So I was sending him videos of Crown Vics just bombing through the fucking desert in the snow.
Yeah. I think we have too many vehicles in the groups that we share together that aren't necessarily meant for off-road. That
GMC terrain.
Prove that you prove that you can actually still go off-road with them. You know, it's...
Yep.
I mean, obviously it depends on what you're doing. If you got big rocks, which Michigan typically does not, I mean, you need maybe a little bit extra clearance or maybe some mud holes or something like that. We have bypasses for most of those. So, I mean, I would say Michigan, yeah, you definitely don't need it. If you were to do Black Diamond stuff,
I don't think you could do the Rubicon. I don't think you could do the Rubicon in a Crown Vic. I was going to say a Corvair, but I know you can do the Rubicon in a Corvair.
Yeah, you definitely can. But that does have a lift, so. Yeah,
big lift.
It definitely. And it's not even a Corvair underneath anymore.
No.
So, I mean, yeah, you don't need a big lift. I mean, heck, last year we were doing a trail ride with, I think, Austin on one of his trail, expeditions, I guess. And we had pretty much a stock Lexus SUV with some decently tready tires, and it did everything we did, and kind of easier on some of the more off-camber situations. I mean, you got to think, 6-8 inch lift isn't always the best idea on some off-camber situations. So there is a balance.
Higher, yeah. I like what's called I think they called it LCG HC or something, low center of gravity, high clearance.
Mm-hmm.
So that's what I did on my TJ build. I think it was 1 inch of lift or 2 inches of lift, but probably 4 times the original travel. I actually chopped out my hood and my fenders so that my tires could go higher than the engine, basically.
Yeah.
And that build worked really well for Arizona, because that was all steep hills and big roll-offs and big rocks. And
I mean, solid axles are gonna inherently do better at things like that for sure because of that. But I mean, did you see anything with, I would say, independent or CV axles that could still do that? Because I mean, you're limited by how much travel you have with that. So
you really can't do that with a
Right.
CVS. Like, inherently, an IFS setup cannot wheel like a solid axle.
No.
Because, with solid axle, you almost have, there's almost a pivot point, or there is a pivot point, right? So, let's say on a Jeep, or at least a decently outfitted Jeep, it's going to have almost a center diff in the front, which is going to allow your pivot point to basically be your center diff, because that keeps your drive shaft straight. And with that center point, you can actually have your tires go higher than what an IFS rig could, because in an IFS rig, you've always got springs pushing down. I mean, it can only go up so far. There might be more down travel, but not up travel.
Yeah.
Right.
I was about to say, compared to my first Tacoma compared to the new one, lift definitely helps a lot, but it's not needed.
Yeah.
I was able to wheel that Tacoma with what you had lift-wise in your vehicle at the time. It pretty much did everything.
Yeah.
It kind of rubbed a lot of stuff, but it off-road the same handling as your 4Runner did at the time.
The 4Runner definitely could have went farther than the Tacoma.
No, 100%.
But it didn't. It needed a driver mod to do that at the time.
Mm-hmm.
Because I was definitely a little more scared of breaking my daily back then. Now it's just like, whatever, I'll fix it.
Well,
but
it kind of helps with that same trip you broke the vehicle, so like, screw it at this point.
yeah, that lower ball joints are a bitch. Hey, Toyota listeners, especially third-gen 4Runners, first-gen Tundras, first-gen Tacomas, and first-gen Sequoias. Go change your lower ball joints right now. This is your call. They are broken.
And while you're at it, gusset your control arms.
Everyone should gusset
your
their
knuckles.
control arms.
Knuckles, not control arms.
Yeah, everyone should gusset their knuckles, for sure.
Yep.
Okay, so we've determined that is definitely myth. What's our second one?
Air lockers are a must-have for off-roading.
Yeah, that's myth.
Right now, I'm currently wheeling without any lockers because my rear locker is broken, and I don't have a front locker. So.
Yeah, I mean, I would say, and I guess we're gonna group air and electric lockers.
All lockers.
There are plenty of vehicles that do not have lockers that can do just fine.
Mm-hmm.
They help.
Oh, they help.
They sure do.
And there's definitely
but,
there's definitely obstacles you're not doing without lockers. But
yeah, and I learned that too. I'm newer to, I guess, the technicality of when and when not to use lockers, when it helps and doesn't. And earlier this year with the poker run and stuff, I definitely learned where they have pluses and when really not to use them. So they help. And there was somebody else who didn't quite make it up that place that didn't have them. So do you have the same capability to go the same places? No, but maybe with enough throttle, maybe. But
that's another one that's coming up.
I also
is that throttle isn't always better.
Yeah, so I mean, it's I don't think, I mean, for just regular off-roading, no. You can get more into technical stuff that's different, but
I think for me, yeah, e-lockers or lockers in general will help, but at the same time, I think it's how you take your lines that really help you get through the obstacles as well.
For sure.
oh yeah.
Especially in Michigan.
I mean, lines are yeah. Lines are very important. I'm a baby. I'll take the easiest and nicest line for everything to get through that obstacle until I have to take a hard line.
I go out of my way to take the hard
Alex
line.
doesn't take line. Yeah, Alex does not take the easy line at all. But he knows the boundaries of his vehicle. He's a lot better about fixing it, and his vehicle has a lot more capability than mine as far as travel goes. So he can do that and feel more confident about it than I can try to do the same thing and maybe break something, maybe get stuck, So, no, definitely don't need lockers. They do help, though.
Mm-hmm. For sure.
Yep.
So, number 3, mud terrain tires are always the best for off-roading. So,
False.
I think that mud terrains are a phenomenal option for off-roading in Michigan.
Yep.
And solely for off-roading. On-road, they're fine until the snow comes. Once the snow comes and the road gets icy, you're skating regardless of what you're doing.
Yep.
I spent all winter just hoping I could stop. But
this is a very true statement by him.
Yeah, very much so. But, when you're buying mud terrains, if you're buying them as the only tire for your car, you've got to know that that's what it's going to be like.
Yep.
I've driven on mud terrains pretty much every winter since I was in high school. Even on my Buick Roadmaster, I put mud terrains on that old girl. Oh, she was so cute. But, you got to understand that they're not good on snow and ice. They're inherently worse on pavement. They are going to be louder. They're going to ride rougher. They might wear worse. My tires that I have right now, I'm at, I think, 35,000 miles on them or something like that. Yeah. And they're starting to wear very unevenly. I'm having to rotate them like every 1,500 miles right now. Mm. So, I mean, you got to know that there's a possibility of going through that when you buy mud terrains. Oh, by the way, I'm the mud terrain expert here in this group.
Oh, he is.
Yeah. Also, disclaimer, a lot of your suspension stuff has either been off, out of whack, or
yes,
not quite right. Not saying it's broken or anything, but we've had a lot of issues as far as your suspension and alignment and stuff for this year. So a lot of that could chalk up to that as well. So
yeah, because I've been through.
But
I've bent 2 lower control arms. I bent a set of upper control arms. I bent a knuckle this year and broke a knuckle this year. These tires have been through hell. I've beat the shit out of them.
You replaced 2 rack of pinions.
2 rack and pinions on the set of tire.
Yeah, I mean they were cheap and they work well for the off-road stuff that you do. I personally am of a little bit of a different opinion. I think some meaty all-terrains are probably my go-to. I like to have the best of both worlds, or the best of all worlds if you can. Unfortunately, with a tire, there's not really any one tire that's best for all of them.
Right.
So, yeah, you have to make compromises here or there. What do you want? What are you doing? How long are you going to be doing it for? If you're going out, once every couple months, maybe mud tires something you don't need. But
that's another thing.
I kind of
that you just reminded me of. Mud tires on rocks get chewed the hell up. They throw lugs.
Oh yeah.
They rip pieces off. They fall apart quick when you're on loose rock.
Yep.
Whereas an all-terrain isn't going to be ripping apart like that.
Nope.
I've got a set of mud terrains on my TJ right now that they look like hell. They might have 15,000 miles on them or something, but they are absolutely shredded from Arizona rocks.
Yeah, that's valid too. But as far as what I was looking into is I wanted a tire that had some deeper tread in it, so I was considering mud tires for a while. But to be honest, I saw Alex's handling and stuff on his, and that's kind of what told me that maybe it's not the right move for me. So I have Falcon Wild Peaks, and they're kind of the best of all worlds for now. Maybe Baja Bosses or something at some point I'll try out. Thought about it.
They're good.
I hear they do. Yeah, I was gonna say I think Mark's got them. He likes them.
Oh yeah, they work real well for me.
So quick, now that we're on tire talk, so I'm looking for my next tire. Have you guys heard anything about the Milestar Patagonias? Are they decent? Because
I hear what the channels tell me, so take that with, I guess, a grain of salt, because they could be sponsored or whatnot. But I think there's quite a few channels that are actually running the Patagonias that like them. So, like I said, take that with a grain of salt. I've heard good about them, but I only hear them through channels. So,
because I'm going to be getting new tires here in probably after June, so probably July, August sometime. Mm-hmm. And the two that I'm looking at right now is I can get 5 Patagonias, 35s for $1,200, or I can get 4 Kenda Clever those are all terrains, or XTs are the Milestars, or 4 Kenda Clever MT2s for $1,200. And obviously we all know how the Kenda Clevers do. They're a phenomenal tire for the price. But I'm kind of wanting to get away from mud terrains.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. So Kenda Clevers were a great tire for the price. Now they are just about they cost just as much as just about any other tire in its class. Maybe a little less.
About $500 to $600 less.
I don't know. I was looking at those comparatively, and they were pretty comparable. So maybe, I don't know. I always thought of them to be much cheaper tires, and years ago I think they were.
Well, and I'm looking cheaper, at it,
comparatively.
If you're looking at 31s or 33s, they're about the same price. But when you get to 35s or 37s, they're about $500 less than, say, Baja Boss. Oh, Baja Boss 35s are expensive. That's like $2,300, $2,400
those
a tire.
Yeah.
Yeah, those are expensive for sure. I mean, those are, I guess, one of the more top of the lines.
Oh, they are.
I mean, I know the most popular ones are Kenda Clevers, KO2s and Wild Peaks. Yep. And for good reason. A lot of people swear by KO2s. A lot of people absolutely hate them.
I hated my KO2s.
For all of them, really.
My KO2s,
right.
they rode rough. They shred. I went through those in 700 miles or something like that, Mark?
Yeah.
I know my alignment was slightly off, but I completely destroyed one in 500 miles.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Yeah, I mean, I've heard that in the FJ forums and stuff that people don't like KO2s as well, but yeah, the overruling majority says that Wild Peaks are the best for the FJs and blah blah blah. So I mean, yeah, like I said before, getting back closer to my main thought is for what we have in Michigan, which we have a lot of varying terrain as far as deep mud, very fine sand, the snow, ice. I wanted something that could do a little bit of everything and do it decently. Mud terrains don't do great in sand. So as much as I was on sand this last year, I wanted to make sure that I could find something that, that I was comfortable with. I wanted something with deeper treads for mud. And I wanted something that would still be able to handle in the snow, because this is still my daily. I still drive my son around in it, and I want to make sure it's safe. Mm-hmm. So, Wild Peaks for me were not only, I came upon it a great deal, but they were also something I had been looking at for a while as being, I think, my best option at the time for my budget.
Yeah.
Yeah, for me, it just comes down to Wild Peaks. Well, one, they don't have a skinny 35, and I'm specifically trying to get skinny 35s, which is why the Patagonias are so high on my list, because they have a 275 8017, which is a pretty skinny 35.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, pizza cutters are nice. I like pizza cutters.
They're not quite pizza cutter. They're not quite that skinny. I want a little bit more depth because I still want to be able to do sand comfortably, but...
Yeah, I think, was it Tinkers Off-Roaders, Tinkers on YouTube. He does an analysis versus, pizza cutters versus normal sized tires, the amount of tread that actually gets exposed when you air up and air down. And pizza cutters do just as well as normal tires, if not a little better. So
I watched that. I watched that same video, and he was sitting on asphalt when he did it. And on asphalt, I agree, 100%. But once you get in something like that's loose sand, now you're not just looking at like the normal low end contact patch. You're looking at the entire contact patch, and a full size tire is gonna be better on loose sand. Period.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, for sure. I mean, you have more surface area.
Yeah.
I mean, really, what it comes down to. So
I'm not looking for like a 13-inch wide tire or anything because I don't need that. But if I could get like a 10-inch tire over a 9-inch, I'm gonna get the 10-inch.
Yeah.
Right. I mean, you're going from, if you think of it in terms of like deep snow, you're going from walking through the snow with your shoes versus walking through the snow with snowshoes.
Yep. Right.
That extra width actually does really account for something in that kind of condition, but I guess it really.
If it wasn't for the fact that I like to snow wheel and it's not that I like sand. I'm actually kind of against the dunes. But I'd like the ability to go to the dunes this year or next year.
Yeah.
So, because I can't right now. If I go on these cheap mud trains I got, I'm just going to dig a hole.
Mm-hmm.
But if, with my tire change, I want to open up all of what Michigan has to offer to me, not just snow wheeling and trails.
Yep.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah. Agreed. So, yeah, I think that's a good one.
Mud trains still look the best, though.
Oh, I mean, yeah, they really do. I can't lie in saying that was part of my reasoning, of course, but at the end of the day, my Falcons still have some good tread. They still look pretty meaty, and I'll take that over my... It seems like I had almost bald all-terrains comparatively before, so it was weird.
I thought your other all-terrains were very bald.
I mean, they were brand new still at that point. And what's funny is the difference between...
What brand were the old ones?
They were Workhorse all-terrains. I can't remember. I think they're Goodyear or one of those fat tire guys. So, but, I mean, they were fine. They did well in the sand and everything, but when it came to mud, I was out of it. Wasn't doing nothing, so, yeah. We got number 4. That was number 3.
That was a really fun topic, and it really took off. I'm glad that it did because tires are a very fun topic. Oh, yeah. Speaking of tires, so Tyler from Morflate or Tyler from Snail Trail, if you go to the Snail Trail YouTube channel, which we'll link it in the show notes, they just did an entire like slideshow on tire management, or tire pressure, all that stuff, and it is a really good listen or watch, however you want to take that in.
Yep.
So, number 4, never go off-roading alone.
I think I go off-roading alone more than you guys do, just because I'm going around to these trails when I have free time, but I would say if you don't have a winch and you're actually off-roading, I would say and you're not actually prepared, like you don't have a winch, you don't have any recovery systems. Which to me, at that end-all be-all would be a winch, really. But
if you're just doing service roads, go wheeling alone. It's a blast. It's great to get out and be alone. Mm-hmm. But if you're going down some harder trails with some deep mud holes,
no.
Have friends. Friends are great.
Yeah. For me, I definitely agree. I think I would say if you're solo and you've never been down a trail, and the conditions are not favorable,
have friends.
I would have friends. And I have a good example of this, we probably spoke about it on a podcast earlier, but I did that ghost rescue here, a month or so ago, couple months, I don't know.
Poor guy.
And went down a trail that was rated blue, which normally my truck would be just fine handling, but we had some warm days, some melt, and then they had some decent snow accumulation over there covering most of the trail, which honestly it dulled the ruts. You know, it didn't make them look as deep, didn't make anything look as bad. And I went down there alone and got stuck. And got stuck, you know, pretty decently. So, I mean, going solo, you take your chances. Like I said, if you don't have the recovery equipment for it, then, yeah, I wouldn't chance it on new trails.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. I think we beat this topic a lot around here on our channel.
we go through this topic a lot. Number 5.
I mean, friends are... I want to hold on before we do that. Friends are always better when you're wheeling.
100%.
It's the shared experience. It's the fun of going with other people. It's the security of knowing if you break or if you get stuck that you have others that you can rely on. And it's a great way for you to somewhat safely push yourself and learn and gain experience without, you know, being stuck in the middle of nowhere alone.
Yeah.
And figuring out yourself, you know. I had Alex and Mark help me quite a few times on things that I wasn't necessarily comfortable with last summer. They helped me learn, they helped direct me on certain lines that might be better than others, and that helped me kind of determine in the future what lines might be better. So, I mean, when you're wheeling with friends, it really does, and especially more experienced friends like those two, it really does help to kind of solidify your experience. When you wheel alone, especially when you're newer at it, you can make decisions that you might not know are bad, but end up negatively. You don't know that they're bad decisions until it's either too late or you find out later on. You know, if you're not experienced on certain recovery techniques, things can end badly.
Snow wheeling should never be done alone.
Oh,
ever.
100%. No.
Always have friends for snow wheeling.
Yep.
Yeah.
I mean, snow wheeling, not only do you have the potential to get stuck in any surface, not just a mud pit, but you've got the added problem where if you do get stuck, you're very reliant on your vehicle's heat at that point. Unless you brought, a spare heat source or a tent or whatever. But let's say you get stuck somewhere and it's going to be 6 hours before someone gets to you. That's a very terrible 6 hours.
Oh, yeah.
Oh, yeah. And this is not to even mention the ice.
Yeah.
There are trails. Oh, God. There are inclines that I've taken in the summer. Oh, they were fun. But I could not imagine going up or down these super steep inclines, this actual parts of the trail, in ice or snow situations. There's a ravine on the right and a tall wall on the left. It one fuck up and you're going into that ravine. You got to be careful.
Yeah. Except Skitter Hill. That's more fun in the snow.
Have you guys seen? I'm trying to remember. There was a group of these guys. They're out wheeling in the winter. And this is just recent. One of the Jeeps misjudged where the edge of the ditch was and rolled over.
Oh. Yeah, I think I did see that.
It was on Instagram for a good bit.
It happens. When we were doing trails this summer, I marked that. I don't have it actually marked on Onyx, but I marked it, mentality-wise, like, hey, if we do this trail in the winter, I'm not doing this part because you're just begging for trouble. I mean, it was a steep incline. It's like you guys didn't go with me on that one, but it was a put your lockers and 4 low on incline.
Where is this?
Because it was out by the Cadillac area. I was during the cryptid hunt, so it was by Traverse City, Cadillac area, and there was a lot of like loose gravel and stuff. And even with like low on, I was crawling up it, and you could still feel like rocks being like slid out. Like it's just gravel. It's not like it was like anything crazy, but you could. It was unsettling to look down and go, oh yeah, that's fucking like 200 feet. It was maybe a slight exaggeration on the storyteller's part, but still, it was very steep, very quick, and snowy situations, absolutely.
Yeah, especially.
Mark, do you remember that? Incline out by where we went to rescue that boat I don't remember where we were at. Bitely? No, not Baldwin. Bitely. No, not Bitely.
We were over by Twin Lakes.
Yeah,
Do you,
Twin Lakes.
do you remember that big incline on the back that I went up and around and like slid all the way down?
Yeah, that was very sketch. I thought we were going to
And
roll
I'm like,
for a second.
I'm trying to make the turn at the bottom without hitting a tree.
I did that. I did that with you. I remember when we went back that way.
Yeah.
We went back and revisited our crime scene, and I went over and I took that same trail, did it, and thankfully did not slide into the tree that was right in front of me. But it was that kind of incline. It was a little bit better than that, but still, I mean, you would not want to chance that with ice. And it was long too. It was like a good little bit there.
So number 5, lower tire pressure always means better traction.
I think when it comes to sand, that's accurate.
To an extent.
Well,
what situation does lowering your tire pressure not give you better traction?
yeah.
When you lower it too much and you end up
and
beating
you
the
don't
tire.
fill it back up. I should have re-aired up.
Let's put this in a perfect world, right? You're on a set of tires with bead locks that have absolutely no possible way of debeading.
Yep.
What situation would airing down not give you better traction?
I can't think of anything.
On the road.
Besides that.
That's the only thing.
You're going to have better traction on the road, too. You're just not going to want to go fast.
No, you don't want to go fast at all.
So,
Well, I mean, the amount of sway that you get from being at like 5 psi would not be great.
well, it's fine if you're going like 10, because I don't go over 20 when
Well,
I'm
yeah,
aired
10.
down. But that's what I'm saying.
What
like,
I mean off. Yeah.
like, what situation... Because ice is better with aired down tires, right?
Yeah, I
More
mean, like we
contact
were
patch?
talking about earlier.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's you have more surface area, so there's not really.
I think that
I don't think there's really an area where that would not.
boost in,
Be
email
good.
in, do whatever. Somehow tell me the situation where you have worse traction when you're aired down. Because I think that ChatGPT missed the mark on this one.
Is mud bad for
Sharp
being aired
rock?
down, or is that the same? I'm trying to remember. I always
Which
said
one?
Mud.
I think mud is better aired down too.
Okay. That's the only one I could think of.
I think there's an extent.
Because if you're aired up on mud, then your tires go deeper into it, which gives you more chance of getting hung up.
True.
Whereas if you're aired down, you've got a wire contact patch, and you flow over more of the mud.
But you have a better chance of being hung up on your axle.
I think you have a better chance of being hung up on your axle when you're aired up because your tires dig deeper into the mud that way.
Yeah, fair.
So
I'm thinking of it from the fact that it lowers you
Right.
slightly. I would say an inch or so. And there have been times where I thought, where we were climbing up on that poker run, where I'm like, I feel like I would have cleared that normally. Like,
but once you start sinking, you're going to sink farther aired up than you would aired down.
So
you probably,
I agree.
yeah.
I will say that one hill climb that I had to air down from where I was at 20 originally. I could not climb that. And yeah,
sinking
airing
in.
down to 10 was a little excessive, but it was a world of difference climbing up that hill.
All right, well, 1 second. We got a doggo interrupting us. Hey, guys, go away. Go on. Get out of here. All right, so we'll just move on.
Yep.
Number 6, automatic transmissions are bad for off-roading.
Yeah, that's a myth.
Very
I
much
feel like
so.
we don't have to talk too much.
Yeah.
Yeah, we don't have to
Yeah.
talk too much on this one because
Manuals,
it's pretty obvious.
manuals are inherently better
Yeah.
off-roading, but automatics aren't bad. Especially more modern automatics. I'd say like 99 and up. If you're trying to wheel with a 70s automatic, Ford C6s aren't the best off-roading choice. But the E40D was fine. Say what's in my Toyota, whatever the hell it is, because I don't know. It's fine.
Yeah.
Sometimes I'd rather be in a different gear than it gives me, but like it's not bad.
I think the only way that I could say that this would be worse is that automatics and snowmobile transmissions just don't work. What is that, CVT?
Oh yeah, CVTs.
Yeah, I mean, it's just not ideal for off-roading. So I mean, that would be, I guess, be the only, because they don't make manual CVTs, do they?
No, because the way a CVT works is it's basically a drum,
Right.
a cone-shaped drum, and there's a band that moves up the drum as it speeds up.
Right. Yeah, that's why I call it snowmobile, because that's what I've always compared them to. But yeah, I mean, in that case, I would not say so.
Yeah.
I feel like, is it true with those that you have a longer time before your transmission actually like gets to what you want it to? You know what I'm saying? Like,
Yeah.
the reaction time between an automatic and manual versus like a CVT.
Well, a CVT doesn't have a shift; it's just a band moving. So you have CVTs are weird. Voodoo magic goes in one end, voodoo magic comes out the other end, and then the car moves. I know enough about CVTs to say that I would hate them in any situation where I actually had to use them. But if I was just using it to drive from like a paved house to a paved work, it'd be fine.
Yeah. I'm just thinking that from, does it cut down reaction time of like the I know it's not the transmission, but from that to wheels, does it cut down reaction time? Or maybe because there is no shifting, it's always constant.
Is Sienna CRV a CVT?
It is.
So you probably have more experience in a CVT than me, because I think I've been in one once in my life. So I couldn't tell you.
I mean, I don't know. There's a couple different theories, I guess, I could go around with this, but I don't know enough about it to speak on it. So I think we all agree that automatics
they're not
are plenty fine
100%.
for off-roading.
No,
especially if they have low gears and everything.
Yeah.
I mean,
I'm not going to say they're better than manuals, because they're not. I prefer a manual when I'm wheeling, because I can physically tell that transmission exactly where I want it to go. Plus, if something happens and my starter goes out, I can always still start the vehicle.
Yeah, I mean, and I'm personally more comfortable in an automatic because, one, I don't want my hand on the fucking shift knob while I'm talking and at the same time trying to steer. It's just, I don't have enough hands. I don't have the hand-eye coordination to make sure everything's going right at the same time.
On that topic, Gavin, how have you ever owned your own manual? How many miles?
Yeah, I had one.
How many miles have you put into a manual?
Oh God, I don't even know.
Because I've probably got like 200,000 or 300,000 miles. Okay, more than that. Probably
that. I would say
probably closer to 500,000 miles behind a manual.
I would say probably 10,000. I had one car with a manual. I had a bike with a manual, and then tractors.
Yeah.
I had an old Fergus. Was it?
I mean, I drive
Mazda Fergus.
I drive manual tractors every day, but I don't really count those.
Right.
But like,
it counts. There's a clutch.
But you know, almost every vehicle I've ever owned was a manual. Aside from I think out of the 45 vehicles I've had, I think like 12 of them were automatics.
Yeah, I mean, if you're used to it, that's one thing. But
so I
would
think
say with me not being inherently used to it, and then having the amount of experience that I have in automatics, switching straight to a manual now would be like a disaster.
I could be, especially when I had my 442 going, I could be driving down the road, talking on the phone with one hand, eating fast food from McDonald's, and still make my shifts. Like, I mean, I've got a lot of time behind the wheel of a manual, so that's probably why we have such different answers here, because yeah.
I mean, I just can't imagine doing like an incline, like just trying to like control your clutch, not stall out, climbing up something, steep, let's say like a rock, but at the same time you're trying to pick your line, your buddy's talking to you on the walkie-talkie, and you're trying to talk back. I'm like, there's a lot of shit going on.
I was about to say, I think for the most part, because I mean, it's like me where I manually shift into a lower gear because I know I need that gear setting for that climb. So at that point, it's just you knowing what you need for certain obstacles,
Right.
based off of experiences.
And then on top of that,
I mean,
on top of that, with a manual, a lot of times if you're wheeling with a manual, you're going to have what's called a granny gear, and you could literally put it in the granny gear, drop the clutch, and that vehicle's going to move. Like, it will not stall.
Yep.
Like, my CJ, dude, I could put that thing in first. I didn't even have to, well, I mean, I had to press the clutch in, I guess. But it didn't matter. That thing was basically impossible to stall in first gear.
right. Yeah, that would be, but that's my my main concern on it. But again, yeah, like you said, it would mostly play down to experience. But yes, moving on.
Number 7, a winch will get you out of anything. No.
Not quite.
No.
I mean, if I'm buried to my frame, I'm looking at like 20,000 pounds of pressure, and my 10,000 pound winch is not getting me out of that.
It might help.
It'll help.
It'll help a little bit.
Yeah, I mean, let me ask this then. With that, and then proper use of
And maintenance.
No. Like I'm trying to think of it. Like pulleys. Proper use of pulleys to double your strength when you're using it, right? You use a pulley to double it back, right? I'm trying to remember exactly how to explain this, but
Yeah, so if you use a double back, that'd help a lot.
So like you get a lot more out of it, and is it going to help you out of most? Absolutely, but I mean, not even thinking about frame rails, if you get stuck in the sand, you get stuck in a place where you don't have any kind of winch point to, you're just stuck.
Yep.
Then
They make land anchors, but land anchors are pretty big, and most, if not all, people don't carry those.
That's when you want to be wheeling with a buddy, because then you always have an anchor point.
Mm-hmm.
Right. Or a buddy who could just carry your land anchor for you.
Yeah. You just get a buddy with a Tacoma or a full-size truck to put the land anchor in their bed.
Yep.
Or put it on their roof and have a nice little third-gen land anchor.
Oh, man. Rooftop land.
Deployable off the back.
RTLAs.
Hit a button, ejecto-cedo.
RTLAs, the
just
newest
ejecto.
fad. It's almost better than rooftop wheelbarrows.
You got to make it like spring activated, so you press a button and it just launches the land anchor out behind you.
All right, number 8. More horsepower means a better off-road vehicle.
I don't know. After
It depends.
watching the freaking rock crawlers just hammering it out and not getting anywhere.
It depends. Because if you're looking for a dune runner, more horsepower, way better.
Oh, yeah.
If you're looking for a rock crawler, hell, I've seen rock crawlers that are powered by lawnmower engines and just super geared down from there. There's a reason that the 22RE is one of like the most sought out engines to put in a rock crawler. They don't need a lot of power. They just need torque.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, we're thinking all around here.
Yeah.
Though. Off-road all around, I would say yes.
Yeah.
I mean, yes, if we try to specific it, yeah. I mean, yes, there are places. The thing is about you don't have to use that horsepower.
I still think
You know what I'm
that
saying?
torque is the more important number there.
Mm-hmm.
Horsepower is only
Yeah.
good for speed. Torque is what you really need off-road.
Yeah.
Agreed. I would say this more of a generality. I'm just making up words here, but if you have more horse, the chances that you have more torque are pretty decent.
But at the same time, more horsepower tends to mean more engine weight, which then makes it worse for other reasons. Like, I really want to say yes, more horsepower is always better. But really, even generally, somewhere in the middle is probably your best bet. I mean...
Yeah.
Yeah.
An 800 horse truck probably doesn't need that. It doesn't need that, but like
when I get my upcoming vehicle that I'm looking at in like June, July time, Then we'll do some real world testing and find out.
Yep.
I mean, so I'm going to use an example. I can't remember the channel, and if I do, we'll link it or put it in there. But I want to say it was 3 Days of Hell or something like that. Or
Oh yeah,
they
those
take
guys
their
are great.
Jeeps. They take their. There was one that was like a supercharged LS Jeep, and he was not getting up that damn rock, and he sat there and got his tires hot as fuck, nice and sticky, and then just fucking bombed that rock and got up it. And I'm like, yeah, okay, horsepower might help here. And there are times in mud where horsepower does kind of help you get through the initial parts of it, but once you're in the mud, horsepower probably isn't your friend. Same thing with sand. It'll help you get across the sand. It's when you lose that momentum that horsepower does not help. So,
yeah, I don't know. I don't know. I can't say that horsepower means a better off-road vehicle.
I don't think so.
But on that note, number 9, you need a snorkel to cross deep water.
What's deep?
That is a
Yes.
good question.
That's a good question. And the next thing is, you don't necessarily need a snorkel. You just need a way to keep your intake dry.
Yep.
But you also need your intake to be sealed all the way from the point where it starts taking in air to the point that it goes into your engine. Mm-hmm. Because if you've got a snorkel, but it's got some kind of hole somewhere between the snorkel and the truck's actual intake, you're still gonna suck in water.
So,
yeah. Well, let's use perfect world, completely sealed snorkel and intake versus just a typical. I mean, it also depends on vehicle. I mean, like with my FJ, my airbox is very high up, so for most,
I don't know about your intake.
If
the intake's like mine, it's just barely above the wheel.
Yeah, but
well, that is higher than most. I mean,
depending on what you're crossing.
Compare that to like the Trailhawk, where the intake is like under the
low.
truck.
Yeah,
that's what I mean. It's like they did that on purpose.
Yeah,
I
can't say
they put.
I was about to say, I think Connor's hole in my truck was a bit sketch to do. I technically should have had that moved at some point, or move at a higher point than what we did it at.
I mean, we definitely got your filter wet that trip.
Yep.
So
I would say yes, and I'm only saying yes because having it
is better than not.
That much more of it. Yeah, I mean it is. I mean, if you end up, so there's that trail in Lake Superior, on that trail up in the UP that gets like 5 feet of water almost.
Yeah.
4 or 5 feet of water. You're not getting through that if you don't have a snorkel, and even if you do have a snorkel, you're not going to easily get through that. But I mean, the comparative, you're either not doing it or you're maybe going to do it. So,
well, do
you want to flood your engine?
Let's do number 10, and this will be our last one, and then we'll get into some housekeeping stuff. Unless Mark's got something
I had
to say.
one more thing about the snorkel. I got something I want to try. I know I brought it up to you before, Alex. I want to move my intake into the cowl.
I think it's a good idea.
I come to find out a lot of Jeeps do that.
Yep.
So
I think it's a good idea.
You say cowl.
Yes.
Where the windshield wipers are. Or for your air intake for your cab.
Yep. So, as
long as you have no water over your hood,
right,
you should be good.
Just do what they do in mud trucks and move it inside the cab of the vehicle.
Throw it right through the dash.
Dude, I've seen mud trucks where it literally comes through the dash and sits in the middle between the passenger and driver.
Yeah, I mean, there's a snorkel upgrade for the FJ that brings it to the cowl.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
But at that point, I'm like, is it really gonna? It's like, I don't know, probably 4 or 5 inches higher than.
It's a big difference.
Where the intake is.
It's a big difference.
It's a big difference. because with it being right in your tire, just driving through water is going to will throw water up into it.
Yep.
So it doesn't even necessarily.
No. Yeah. Like, I mean, I get that. Like, but let's say I'm more speaking from the. If I was to seal my intake, make sure everything was nice and sealed today, and where it currently sits at versus where that cowl one does, I feel like it's only a few inches of extra.
It's not so much about the height as moving it from where it is. Because with it being in your wheel well, like I said, a small 2-inch puddle could waterlog your engine. If you hit a 2-inch puddle fast enough, you're going to throw water right into the intake, and boom, she's done.
Oh, yeah.
Right.
So, but we'll do number 10 real quick. This will be the last one we do today, and we've got 10 more, so we may as well do it again in the future.
Mm-hmm.
So, number 10. You need to mod your rig before hitting the trails. No.
I think the only mod, even though it's not technically a mod, would be tires, mostly.
Even then,
I wouldn't say that. Yeah.
Even factory tires on most rigs, just get out and do it.
True.
Because as you're doing it, you're gonna find what needs upgraded.
Yeah.
Okay, I'm bombing through sand. I buried myself because my tires suck. Next upgrade will be tires.
I forgot we wheeled with stock tires with my Tacoma, the first Tacoma.
Yeah.
With no issues.
And it did great.
Yep.
Yeah, I mean, all-terrains. I had stock all-terrains on mine.
Wait,
At the end of the day.
When did we wheel your first Tacoma with stock tires?
Literally like the first weekend.
I don't remember.
We took it out to the prairie, or the power lines.
Oh, that's right.
Before they closed off the dip down and up. Because I had to wait and see if Alan actually made it up with his Trailhawk that weekend, too.
Yeah, you're right. I remember that now.
Mm-hmm.
I say we put those Baja Bosses on that thing pretty quick.
Yeah, we put it on just before the 7-hour plane crash trail.
Like, I don't even think your truck was. I don't even think you had it 2 months before we put those.
Oh, 100%. It was a quick purchase. Like, hey, we got this trip. I need tires.
Yeah. No, I mean, excluding tires, I think the answer is no.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Yeah, you don't need anything. I mean, if you just take tires out of it, because I wouldn't really count. I don't know. Yes, it's something added, but I don't know if I would say a mod. Stock Lexus GX was doing plenty good. I mean, plenty of stock vehicle heights, stock cars can still go on trails, can still do. I mean, most stock Jeeps. I mean, with your stock all-terrains you get from the factory, you can still do plenty. So, yeah, I mean, definitely don't.
Yeah. But, yeah, I mean, I really am trying to think of anything you absolutely have to do. It's not necessarily a have to, but you should have some form of communications in the vehicle when you go out the first time.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
Which I think is what we also did with my truck that first time.
Yep.
Mm-hmm. And if you don't, for some reason, have a cell phone and you just carry a flip phone around, some form of navigation.
Yeah.
Yeah.
As someone who
just use flip phones.
Someone who's in that category, I definitely have a Garmin that I use almost daily. Okay, daily because it's my speedometer.
Yeah, so I mean, depending. If you don't have a flip phone, then you have a phone with navigation on it, and you're good. Mm-hmm. That would be the only thing I could think of, or some kind of communications.
Yeah. Yeah, that's about it.
Do we have any housekeeping to do before you do that?
Housekeeping.
Is there anything we need to talk about? Oh, 3rd Gen weekend is coming up. We're doing a 3rd Gen 4Runner weekend. It's kind of an annual thing that we do as a group. I'm trying to remember the dates. 1 second, I'm pulling it up.
Sometime in April.
I made the event, and I cannot remember what days it is.
Well,
Yes, so April 25th through the 27th, we'll be doing 3rd Gen Camping Weekend up in Everett, Michigan. It will be a blast. It was a blast last year, even though my 4Runner was broken.
I got an invite, even though I'm not even a 3rd gen, man. It was sad.
Well, you could just be there, but you're not going to be posted publicly about wheeling your vehicle if you even wheel your vehicle.
I mean, yeah, if you want to come, that's great. I'll have an alternate campsite across the way for any vehicle that isn't cool enough to be a 3rd gen. We'll have campfires and everything without you. It'll be fun.
That sounds fun to me.
Hey, I'll be bringing my Tacoma, so.
No, I mean, oh, you guys have Rocks and Valleys this weekend with Derek, right?
Yep.
Yeah, we're doing rocks. It'll be last week. It'll be the weekend before this comes out. But yeah.
I'll be finalizing my navigation setup.
I'll be putting my skid plates on finally.
I will be ordering I already did, but a new phone holder.
Nice.
Nice. Which one did you get?
I got one from Amazon, and it was a little bit more expensive. It's not the bullet point one. It's one of those like Streg or something. I don't even know how to say the name.
Off-Roam makes the best phone holder.
Oh, 100%.
Yeah, I was looking at them too, and I was just like, man, the price.
It's worth the price.
I get
100%.
it, but still, I was like...
It held my phone in a rollover. I have to go looking for my phone.
I don't plan to roll over, so I don't need to worry about that.
My brother could not figure out where his phone went the one time when we rode.
It's called STRG, so like Strig, I guess, but it kind of mimics it's like the X style ones that when you put them in, it kind of retains. I get really tired because I pull my phone in and out of my holder when I'm getting in and out of my truck. I have one that clamps, and the ones that spring clamp are just kind of annoying to try to rip my phone out of every time. They hold it, but when I'm trying to like stop and like take a look at maps or something, I don't really want to have to fight my phone holder. And the spring clamp ones that I had before were so damn strong that it almost ripped my case off my phone trying to pull them out. So I was just looking for something that's easy to throw in, easy to get out, that mounts onto my bracket I already have on there. So we'll see.
The off-roam ones are nice because they're spring-loaded, but they slide to one side easily enough, so you just kind of push it that way and it comes right out.
Right.
Most of the spring-mounted ones like that I cannot stand because it's a pain in the butt to get stuff out, but I don't see that with the off-roam. Are
they the magnetic ones?
No, they're still spring-loaded ones.
Yep, spring-loaded.
Oh, okay.
I love MagSafe mounts. That is the way to go for a phone, but for a Zune, it doesn't work. But yeah,
I see them now. I was just looking at them. Yeah, that's kind of similar to. Yeah, that's kind of similar to what I had before.
See, and I've used a lot of them that way, and I hate them because it's a fight to get your phone out. But it's not like that with the off-roam.
No.
I don't know what they do different, but the off-roam is not hard to get your phone in and out of. But I have a X mount, kind of like the STRG, and I absolutely hate getting my tablet in and out of that. I actually got rid of it and went more to the spring style, which I also hate getting my tablet in and out of because it is a lot harder than the off-roam. It is garbage.
Yeah.
We'll see. For me, I had to get it was nice with my other case that I had, where I could just slide my phone through the top of it and then just pull it out through the top. But with a different case, with just the thicker cases and stuff, it doesn't slide out. So I have to adjust the knob every time. So we'll see.
the best way to hold it is MagSafe. You get MagSafe, you get a MagSafe adapter for an Android phone or an iPhone. Either way, I'd put a MagSafe adapter. It more than doubles the magnet strength than what the factory magnet is. And I use that with my tablet through all of Drummond Island, and the only reason my tablet ever fell was because my dog's big-ass head hit it a couple times.
Yep.
Makes sense, for sure. I have a kid, so his big-ass head would probably hit it, too.
If your kid is sitting on your dashboard, I think you got other problems.
Yeah, I don't know if you've had a 1-year-old before, but they're definitely dashboard puppies.
Nope,
or they
I
try
definitely
to yank
went.
your steering wheel while you're trying to wheel.
I definitely went from no kids to a 3-year-old, so I have not had that experience.
It's not fun. It's not fun when they don't understand that this could really fuck up your day.
But yeah, on that note, this was. I kind of like this ChatGPT topic here. This was kind of fun.
Yep.
Yeah, it was fun. We'll do some more of it, and we'll see. On that note, we'll talk to you guys later.
Later.
Yep. Later.